Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
And just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
It has been a magical week thus far. Last week was pretty amazing, man, I gotta say. It was action-packed on Sunday.
Action-packed?
Action-packed with Art in the Park and Bass Waffles. It was my first Bass Waffle show.
Congratulations, man.
Did you ever go?
No.
No, dude, it's actually pretty damn cool. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard it was cool. I didn't doubt that it would be cool, but I didn't realize how cool it was. Like, there was a huge turnout, and it was in a bar. I thought it was kind of just like a place where they go, somebody's a hall that they ran out or something like that, and they just like make waffles for each other. I imagine like a pancake breakfast. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, Bass Waffles is an event that our buddies throw, synaptic events, Fuzzy Puddles,
in conjunction with Fuzzy Puddles and Table. Yeah, there's a lot of people to shout out there.
A lot of people there, but Kevin and and Pee Wee and a lot of people that we've had on the show are frequent players at Bass Waffles, and so like I've been meaning to go and try the waffles, and that's exactly what it is. You go to this bar, and it's fucking decked out all dope and shit. You got TVs that are playing all this psychedelic fuzz stuff on it, and they're just like, and it's actually, I am not the biggest connoisseur of like heavy bass music, but this shit was really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like when I hear really good bass music, I get really into it, and so this was awesome, and some amazing people that I met there, actually. So I was really excited about both Art in the Park, which was also just as glorious as ever, and I'm really excited for the next
we could
one.
talk that up too. How did that go?
So
We got so much to like break down this
I know,
week because so
I
much
know.
happened over the weekend, man.
Exactly, and it's like weird because I'm getting older, and I feel like it takes me at least a few days to recover from doing all that stuff, even though I'm not like partying and doing all the other stuff. It's still like exhausting, but in a good way, like in a rewarding way, where instead of like having regret, you're like, oh, I just want to sleep because I had so much fun last night, and I don't feel bad. I just like, I'm tired, but it was great. Art in the Park was a beautiful day. We were at Peak Park again, and I think once again there, all the resident DJs that have been coming through. You got Pee Wee, Firefly, Dream Life, and Detmer, and Halston actually played this time too.
Okay, cool.
And so all of them had amazing sets of their own style. Like I was really pleased by that. Elixir Bar showed up again. They weren't even going to show up, so that was a treat that they ended up coming out.
Yeah.
And more people were getting into the art than I think have been in previous Art in the Parks. They're getting more comfortable with it, which is good, and really excited for what we got.
And I think you can maybe draw a direct comparison between the two. Because Bass Waffles had this unique idea, and they just kept doing it every month.
Yeah.
Like you could reliably know that this shit was go, and I'm sure it got cooler, and cooler and cooler every month.
Yeah.
And now they got to fucking write up at Mixmag, and they're fucking blowing up and dope shit like that too.
Yeah.
And so
they're free, just like we are.
Yeah.
Everything's free, and it's totally just a community-driven and based thing that they're doing. That I didn't really like take into consideration until just now, but I'm glad I did finally because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah,
And so I'm seeing maybe a similar trajectory with Art in the Park, Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have more to announce on that later.
Yeah, we'll definitely have more to announce on the next Art in the Park. It is going to be our 6-month anniversary from when we decided to do this. When we do it once a month, and so we're going to be just putting it out there and making it big. So stay tuned for that. But I think that's kind of happening with all of our friends and people that are just out there doing stuff. They're making their dreams come true.
Yeah, people are making big moves. Now, did I see this right? Did Kevin Star Fox get like some kind of record deal?
Yes, he did, and since we haven't talked about it since last weekend, where he actually played at Abundance.
Yeah.
That was where he played the same show as Polish Ambassador and Govinda.
He was on the same lineup with all these fucking big time names.
It was fun.
And I ended up talking to I ended up talking to this girl who writes for something. I wish I could remember, but I was like, yo, like make sure, because unfortunately I couldn't do it. I couldn't go. I got destroyed that day. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna have fun tonight. So I ended up selling my ticket. But the girl that I sold my ticket to, she was like some kind of writer for the magazine or blog publication, something like that. And so I told her, like, make sure that you check out my boy here. Like, I guarantee you, man, you've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
And then she got back to me afterwards. She's like, yo, he was fucking sick.
Oh, nice.
And she's like, I'll do a whole write-up on him and shit like that. And I was like, fuck,
Sweet.
yeah. See, he's doing his original thing, and he's been doing it well and doing it right. And it's fucking paying off, man. And I called it. You can fucking go back and listen here. I called it. I was like, if anybody's going to make it, Kevin's going to make it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, from the very beginning, the same thing, you know, when I've told him about that too, it's like, you know, don't worry about this place or that place. You're not playing here, because he kind of got off to a late start compared to a lot of other people when it came to playing these things. But he is, like you said, you know.
But he brings a lot to the table. Something that's truly unique. And it was only a matter of time until somebody noticed, and I'm fucking so proud of my boy because people finally noticed him, man. So fucking congratulations, Star Fox. We love you, buddy.
Yeah, and he's got that record label that just picked him up, and he's doing his thing. So excited to see more of what he's got too.
Yeah, I'm sure we will be, you know, his biggest fans cheering from our quaint little podcast over here. And hey, speaking of that podcast, we have a great episode for you guys today. We have one of my dear friends in comedy, Miss Lydia Shahid. She's a very, very funny chick. We know each other actually for a really long time, so we actually, you know, we kind of get into that. And we talk a lot about the comedy scene around Orange County in this area, you know, because I feel like not a lot of people know that it exists. There's a lot of fucking great shows going on all over, you know, Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, Laguna, like, and all the same, like, it's like a small family of like really dedicated and dope ass people who really put all this together. It's kind of, it's the same group that I go and do open mics with, even though I haven't been out there for a little bit. But yeah, you know, I ran into her at an open mic one day. I think it was her first one that she had ever attended. And, you know, she seemed kind of interested. She was really feeling it. And then smash cut to like, you know, 6-7 months, a year later. Yeah. And she's one of the like resident comics at like all these places.
Yeah. She's
in it. She's doing it. And she was here to promote our good friend, a fucking good dude, super funny, Mr. Joe Ural. And he is filming his comedy special, his half-hour comedy special at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach. And that is, I don't know if anybody's not aware, but there's a spot by Bellaterra in Huntington Beach. And they have a kick-ass comedy club in there. It is seriously, I mean, I would say it's up there. It's a beautiful room. It's fucking well done. It's super close to here and most of the people that we talk to.
It's just so strange that people feel that there's nothing, you know, in between San Diego and LA, like down here in Southern California. It's like they, you know, people overlook all the gems that are here. All the people, like, I mean, they're the talent is here in every form, you know. It's just that people feel for whatever reason, and it's
vibrant, you know, but it doesn't get enough attention, you know, and especially the comedy scene out here, because it doesn't get enough like mainstream attention, you know. If you're really a big fan, you really want to, like, even I'm being a big fan, it took me a while to like find this spot, and I talk about this in the episode, so I'm not going to rehash it right now, but it's a beautiful thing, you know, and I want to support, I want people to know, like, hey, you've got great live comedy shows going on all the time, in even, you know, ones with, you know, famous comics that you know too. Yeah. Like this you know, this spot, you know, in large part, I don't know exactly how it all went down, but in large part, I got to shout out my man Evan Cassidy, who has been like you know, like, I feel like he built a lot of the scene around here. He like chairs the Facebook group, and he started like 3 different events and nights on there that have just been a staple of the Orange County comedy scene. So yeah, really got to give a big shout out to him and thank him for bringing all that together.
That's just pure passion too, following that. Like, you know, you got to be pretty passionate to really stick with it and try to build something from the ground up where there is nothing, essentially, you know. Like,
that's the thing. It's not a lucrative career, you know. It's not it's got to be a hobby. It's got to be a passion. And it's all these dedicated people that are going out there and just fucking crushing it, man.
Well, I'm really excited to see both Lydia and your boy, is his name John?
Joe. Yeah. So she is opening up for Joe on April 5th, which is going to be, I believe, the Thursday after this comes out. And oh shit, I forgot to plug the laptop in. You want to stretch for me real quick?
Yeah. Well, so I'm excited to go check it out because I used to go to a lot of comedy shows with my friends, and we'd go to the Improv and check out, all kinds of people that were expected to be funny. I bet you if you go to one of these events where these people are not famous, they don't have, big names or anything like that, they'll blow your mind. You're going to see some real people relating to you on some real levels that, it doesn't necessarily matter that they're not famous or anything. These are people.
Funny is not like it's a subjective thing.
Sure.
And so that doesn't mean like necessarily all of the best people are going to rise to the top. I mean,
Right.
in general, there's a spectrum there, but like just because they're not famous or because they've not been on Comedy Central before does not mean that they're not some of the funniest fucking shows that you will ever see. Man.
And that is to be said for any form of art,
Yeah,
for
yeah, that's
every
a
form
good
of
point.
art. So that's what we're saying, man. Find your local spots. Get in there.
Yeah,
Go
support
check
the
them out,
local arts, and I
them.
promise you guys will not be disappointed.
They
and so,
will get there if you help them get there.
and most of all, I want to shout out my buddy Joe. He's a fucking hilarious comic. His thing is he has a I don't know what kind of palsy it is. So he's in like a wheelchair. And I don't want to give away any of his bits, but he is fucking hysterical. And so super good dude. So if you guys go to notspecial.live, that's where you can get more information on the tickets to those filming of Not Special. And I think I would love to see everybody fucking filling up that spot. I've got my tickets. And if you guys use the promo code Lydia, Lydia, you guys can get your tickets for $10 whole dollars, and that is it. So super cheap, super affordable show. Support local shit, and yeah, you guys can also use the promo code Joe. But Lydia is the one who came on the show, so
when are we gonna
I feel like we got to shout out her.
When are we going to hear you plug your show, Phil?
Oh boy,
your comedy stand-up special.
Man, we talk about it during the
Yeah, we get into
episode,
it.
but I'm like, fuck yeah, something.
Light that fire under your butt.
Oh, I'm not being lazy. I'm just like, fuck, something had to give, and that was
That's
unfortunately
true.
it in the last like few months.
That is very true. You are a very busy person, doing a billion different things. But
yeah, and I can't stretch myself too thin and just like not give full attention to this thing or that thing. But the good news is that these things never go away. They're always in the back of my mind. So I've been writing, and I've been actually, finding crowds and performing, just not actually going to those, because I don't know if you've ever been to an open mic, but I mean, sometimes you'll fucking show up and then wait 3 hours to get on for 4 minutes. I'm just like, I don't got that kind of time anymore, man.
Especially when the open mic is like in a popular area where there's just like, it's like a variety show. Like every motherfucker wants to go up on there. And so it's like, it's hard to keep the attention span, I would imagine, of somebody who's kind of going to watch comedy, like specifically, because then they got to sit through a bunch of like really bad singer-songwriter types doing covers of like really fucking bad songs.
Oh no, that's not even a thing. It's mostly comics like playing for comics,
right. But you know what? Those people too, give them credit. They're doing it. They're trying. They're up there. Like,
are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, all love that. No,
Yeah.
I've done sets to like a room with 4 people in it.
Yeah.
And like one dude's like pretty much passed out in the back, and the 3 others are comics who are like 2 new comics who are just waiting to go on, and the last guy is running the show, so he can't go home until everybody's in. Everybody's just trying to fucking hurry it up because it's midnight, and I've been there since 6. I'm just like, all right, let's do this.
It's called paying your dues.
Yeah, no, you gotta pay your dues in this business, and I'm cheap as fuck, so that's why I haven't been up in a while.
Okay.
One day though.
One day. Well, you know what? Without any further ado, we got what do we got going on other than what we just mentioned right now before with the shows? I think Art in the Park. I know that we got it saved the date for April 15th. It's going to be a big day. Aside from that, you just go ahead and follow us on any.
That's right. You guys can go ahead and follow us on all of our social media. Oh shit! I just remembered some news. We are now available on Stitcher, and we are now available on Google Play. So
Sweet.
if if maybe iTunes is not your jam, even though it feeds to a lot of these systems, we are available however you get podcasts, and I mean that like literally. And still waiting to hear back on Spotify, but
yeah,
big
we're gonna
news for
crack
us
that Spotify
in
code.
our syndication. it's a tough one to get into, but I submitted it, just waiting for some feedback. So we're fully syndicated, available all across the globe on
Let It
all
Bleed
sorts of
Cast.
just channels. So yes, that's right. No further ado, at Let It Bleed Cast on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and be sure that you subscribe to us here, however you get your podcast, because that's so many different ways now. And
Let's just go ahead and get into our chat with Lydia.
I think it's a good idea. I talk too much.
All right, let it bleed.
supposed to wait?
No, I was just trying to be gentlemanly, and I'm also not paying attention.
And I was
Which
not
is
being a gentleman. I was just like...
Problematic all in and of itself.
Your lady can deal with that bullshit.
She knows it well. All the misogyny that goes on as soon as the cameras and mics turn off. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
I totally miss what you guys are talking about.
Our live audience
Just
is,
sit-
our live
just sit there
audience
and
is
look pretty.
distracted at the moment. What were you on right now? What were you looking at?
PCP.
PCP.
Yeah,
So
good
you're a comedian and
Yeah.
you do stand up
I do
like
stand
3
up.
times a week. I've heard. That's
Yeah,
about as much as I know
about.
of you right now.
About.
Well, yeah. How'd it go? How'd it go last night at the Harp Inn?
Harp Inn was okay. I did like the feature spot, which is like right before the open mic.
Right on, man.
And they have like a full-on comedy show, and then they have the feature spot, and then it's like the open mic. There's like me or 3 other comics on the featured spot. And I've done like all 3. I've been on the show, I've been on the featured spot, and I've done the open mic. But it's funny how like people at the Harp Inn kind of like trickle out like after the comedy show. They have like really good performers on the comedy show like at the Harp. And then as soon as like that show is over, people just leave. Like they don't stay for the open mic or for the featured performers. And
Well, how long was the
just-
comedy show?
It's about like a couple hours. I think it starts at 7. It didn't end, I think, till like 9:30.
Like in the entirety with the
No, and then the open mic starts at the featured spot started at 9:30, and then the open mic goes to like I heard it can go till like 1 a.m.
Oh wow, yeah. People's attention
Easy.
spans are just like
No.
not meant for that, you know.
And like people just leave at like 9 because it's a weekday.
Yeah. Also, it's like it's a Tuesday or something like that. So not
Yeah.
everybody's kind of all hanging around. And I mean, I don't know how that. I don't think I haven't been to that open mic, but yeah. Some people don't want to hang around open mics for more than 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think
unless you're going up, like
the longest comedy show I've seen that goes as long as it does is Anchor Bar.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised the
I'm surprised
audience
every
can
single time.
can stay and handle it that long. Because as a comic, I listen to like comedy for hours, but I still can't sit through a full like 3 hours at Anchor Bar.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
yeah, you got
It's so hard.
You know, some of those people are tenacious. Like there's dudes
Yeah.
who are just there for fun. They're there every week, so they're seeing a
Oh,
lot of the
yeah.
same people, a lot of the same material, and they're
There's
still there till like
regulars.
1:30.
Oh yeah, they love it.
they're all about it, man. It's a beautiful.
When I
Yeah.
started at Anchor Bar, when I started doing comedy, the other comics didn't know that I was like doing comedy. They were like, "What? She does comedy?" They thought I was just like a regular that was part of the crowd and like loved to be there every Monday. I remember like one guy was like, "Oh, like you're going up?" I was like, "Yeah, like I'm going up next." He's like, "For real? I thought you just came here to hang out every Monday." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
wow.
Like that's
the
what
hell?
happens when you're a girl and you look kind of decent and you do comedy. Like people are like, "Oh, like why does she need to do comedy?" Like they
like
don't
I
get
was
it.
just
like you
gonna
don't want to
say,
do it. Like, there's no
yeah.
reason she
There's
would
no
want to do
reason,
comedy.
yeah.
Like, but so
Yeah,
what
so-
got you into doing comedy? Like, what made you say like, "Hey, I want to get up there and just fucking try to tell some jokes"? Or did you already?
I mean,
like,
was it around the time that we ran into each other at the Anchor Bar?
Yeah,
I
so
think-
when we ran into each other, I hadn't even started comedy. I don't think I was.
Yeah, you
thinking
were there to
about it.
support. You were there to support a friend, and I think
Joe.
had I just gone on or something like that. I don't
Or you were
remember.
going on.
Oh no,
or
I was going on,
something.
and you guys
Uh-huh.
had to go, and then I
Yeah,
don't
'cause-
blame you because those shows like
They last forever.
yeah, and
You
also
can
like
wait
your
several
quote
hours.
unquote set time is like a loose suggestion. You
Yeah.
basically get like a date, and you know you show up and you're probably there for 4.
It changed since the last time you were there too. Like
Oh, really?
before, it used to be you could like let Evan know like a week before,
Uh-huh.
but now you have to tell him a month in advance. And
Yeah,
you have to
actually-
get your Monday bookings in like a month in advance.
Yeah,
It's kinda crazy.
No, it's awesome. I love
Yeah,
it. That
it's
show has
awesome.
grown. It's gotten the respect that it has, and so has Evan because he.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
He's
Evan
done so
Cassidy.
much.
He's done so much for comedy
OC
in
comedy,
Orange
for
County.
sure,
Most
yeah.
definitely, man.
So, like,
the
for
father
a
of
lot
it.
of people like myself, can you tell us where the Anchor Bar is? So
well, that's in Costa Mesa, like
Okay.
off the 55.
okay.
And that was the first place that I ever went to go do stand up.
Okay.
And that was I've been a big fan of stand up and a big comedy nerd like my whole life. And so I went to the Irvine Improv all the time, and that's where I got to know Friendly Frank, who's one of the regulars over there, one of the regulars in the Orange County scene. And I was shooting the shit with him one day, and I was talking about like, yeah, man, I think I could do it. I've thought about doing shit like that. And so he's like, yo, come out to the Wednesday nights Umami Burger open mic. And then he hooked me up with the group, the OC comedy scene group.
Okay.
And then from there, I just decided, okay, Anchor Bar looks like a decent enough spot. I kept seeing that one come up every week. And so I went down there with my roommate, and I met Evan because my roommate knew Evan, which was just a coincidence, And then I found out, Evan runs this whole show.
OC comedy
and so,
scene,
and so I told him like, I'm here, just kind of wanted to check it out, kind of get a feel for it. I was thinking about, get into this, and he's like, all right, you're on next week. And so I was like, okay, And
he does kind of just like throw you on the fire.
And dude, I can't thank him enough for that. I needed that, like, the little, like, no, you're just going up and doing it and getting through it. And I fucking went up and did it, and I was like, that wasn't bad at all.
No.
I wrote 5 minutes like that week. Well, I had so many notes all over the place, but I felt pretty damn good about the first one, that like my first time up.
Your first set, it was probably horrible too. I bet it was so good. He was like, it was so good.
Oh man,
it's about how you
So
feel, right?
hard.
I mean, because
So
as long as
hard.
you got over that hump, because it could have been the opposite. He could have been like, "Fuck this, I'm never doing it again. It's the worst thing ever," and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's better to be just
It's probably
optimistic.
horrible.
Yeah. Better to be overly optimistic.
Did you
about
ever
it.
That's how
record
I
your first
remember it.
one?
No, I didn't record
didn't?
that. I've never recorded or like even taken a picture of like myself doing it.
Ever?
He doesn't tell us. That's what I wanted to ask you. Is this guy good? Tell us. Give us
I've
the
never
inside
seen
scoop.
Phil.
Dude, what the fuck's
Phil's
it?
never
Phil's
seen
there.
So
me.
has it really happened? We need fucking
You know,
pics or
yeah,
it didn't fucking happen,
I've
Phil.
known Phil for a long time, and I think Phil's like genuinely like a funny, naturally funny person.
Oh, no doubt. I just want to
For
see.
sure.
I want to see it. I
I
want it to be out
know. We
there.
all
I want
wanna see
that to
it. We should all do bits right
I feel
now.
like you guys are trying to like get me to take my top off right now, and
It's-
I feel attacked.
be. You're like that girl that like is just like self-conscious, but like really has no reason to be though. Like right now, at all. You should just
I feel like you're going to talk to me like, "Whoa, you do comedy? Like you don't seem like you have to."
Yeah.
I feel like you were just about to lose that line on me.
I was kind of going that way, right?
Literally, I
That's-
still get that too.
Toxically masculine
Why-
son of a
why do
bitch.
It's
you
just
have
so
to?
bad.
But yeah, no, it was. I mean, it was great. And unfortunately, I've fallen off lately, man, because I just everything with like I travel a bunch,
Yeah.
and like when you don't do it and you get out of the habit of it, it feels so like
It
foreign. Like I feel like you need that practice and to like get that.
to get more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're like every time I feel like I want to stab myself in the gut before I go up there. And I feel like that never goes away, kind of.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten that before. But
It's
I mean, like
so weird.
the whole act of like doing it,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, if you ask me to go up next Monday, actually no, I can't next Monday because I'm traveling, but like the Monday after that, I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I can like commit to that, you know. And it's like when it doesn't become a part of my routine, like we were just talking about before we started rolling, was just spreading ourselves so thin and just being so anxious because we've got 150 different things going on at once.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know with comedy you've really got to put in the time, and you've
you
got
do.
to get up there every night almost if you really like want to be good and decent at it.
No, for
And
real.
when I totally realized I'm like I couldn't do it, that kind of had to take a step back, So
I think finding that, like, for me, I get so head crazy until I go up there. Like, if I hadn't gone for a week, I get a little head crazy, and I'm like, I really need that stage time. I don't know what it is. It's like a drug that you just need all the time.
oh,
and
definitely.
when you finally get that, you feel so, like, head sane, but it only lasts, like, a day.
Yeah.
And then you are like, okay, I need to go back.
That's like, in a way,
so
it's like your
weird.
meditation or your, like, your flow, whatever it is. Do you do anything else, like, in the way of, like, for meditation or flow arts or anything that kind of
I've done everything, honestly. Like, yoga, I was, like, avid yoga. I'm actually certified to teach yoga. That's how, like, crazy I was about doing yoga. Just to get my head right. I've done therapy for a long time because I always had, like, anger management issues. and I still fucking do.
Yeah.
I still see a therapist for that.
Oh wow.
Let's be real. I still practice yoga for
And
that.
what was your first bit that
My first bit.
The first story that ever told you should get into comedy over?
I can't.
It was Matt's surfboard.
Yeah, I took it back to my ex-fiancés who cheated on me. Surfboard. I took a metal bat to one of his surfboards when I found out he cheated. And I did my first comedy material on it, actually. Did you tell me to do my first bit about that?
No, you were telling me.
I already done my first bit on that?
I think you were telling me that somebody had told you to do it as a bit. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
How much would you say that your anger fuels your comedy?
Like 100%.
So like, I have no idea. I've never seen any of it before. I'm excited to go check it out at some point. You know, do you have anywhere where people can go on and look?
So, okay. So I have a big show. I have a big show coming up at the Rec Room. Joe Urell, my best friend, who's the dude who got me into comedy. He was my best friend. I'll give you a history about Joe. We went to school together, like pretty much high school, and then we met up for real in college. Ran into each other at Cal State Long Beach. Stayed really good friends. He invited me to his comedy shows because he's been doing comedy for like 4 years. And I was like, oh my God, Joe's so funny. And he's
like a legend around.
He's a legend, yeah. And Joe has cerebral palsy and is in a wheelchair, but kills it. And he like has overcome like so many different battles, like, you know, things with his speech, like being in foster care, having cerebral palsy and doing comedy, like so many things. And he told me right after my breakup, he was like, you're so funny. You really need to try stand up. And I was like, I can't, like, I don't like, I'm a teacher and like, that's already hard. Right. So then I'm like, I can't get in front of a bunch of people and make them laugh. Like, I just don't have that skill. And he was like, try improv, like sign up for an improv class. So I took improv. I met some really funny chicks and people through improv. And one of my really good friends, Brianna, she wasn't my good friend at the time, but she signed me up for my first open mic. And then so I did my surfboard bit at the open mic at the library. And then, after that, I just started doing Anchor Bar and other OC comedy places and then getting booked for shows. And it just kind of...
Yeah, you know, that's what's been kind of crazy to me is that, like, you've gone so much farther past I did. You've gotten so much farther than I ever got with it. And I was like, yeah, no, but you've been putting in the time. You're there like every single week. Getting there, and I'm seeing all these new shows with you, and, you know, these flyers with your face in the featured list. I'm like, dude, fucking right on. I'm so stoked for you.
It's been crazy.
Like you stuck with it and you made it. You know, you're making it happen right now.
Yeah, it happened so fast. It wasn't even like I necessarily wanted it to happen this fast or that I wanted it to happen at all. Like at the time, and I still look at comedy like this. Comedy is just like a hobby. It makes my head sane for a little bit. Like, I like to talk. It's kind of like therapy. I don't know. So it still blows my mind, honestly. But on April 5th, I'm doing a show with Joe. He's filming his special. Not special. Yeah. It's a 30-minute special, hopefully. And I'm one of the featured guests on it. So you could buy tickets online at therecroom.com.
Which is a fantastic new venue.
Hell yeah.
By the way, if you guys are in the area, in Huntington Beach, over by Bella Terra, they put this amazing club up there. I mean, seriously.
Oh yeah, like an awesome comedy club.
Yeah, like in contention with some of the best ones I've ever seen. Like all, you know, the improvs and all those, the ones that everybody knows, you know. And it's right in our backyard. And the shows over there are fucking great.
They're so good.
Man. Yeah, and they've got some bigger. I'm seeing bigger names now kind of come through and jump on that lineup. And now, I mean, there's
so
nobody
when
that
can
won't.
we go see both Phil and you at this place that you talked about over there?
I don't know about Phil because we don't know how good he is yet.
Oh dang!
I should have seen
You ain't no Daisy. You don't know Daisy at all.
Oh man!
But 4/5/18, you can see me open up for Joe Urell.
Yes, I definitely want to be promoting that too. And I was actually, I
leave a couple
wanted to talk to
So
Joe
April
too.
5th.
April 5th.
Next month, and it's in
8 p.m. at the Rec Room.
Okay.
If you look up that date, you could buy tickets.
And
What
we
day
will
of
be
the week is
for
that?
Not special.
That's a Thursday, right?
I think
Wednesday or
it's
Thursday?
a weekend. Is it not a weekend?
I think I got my
thought it was
tickets
like
already.
a Friday. Did you really? And then if you put my name in the it's a Thursday. So if you put my name in the promo code slot, you'll get money off your ticket.
Sweet.
So put in
Oh,
Lydia,
okay.
Lydia.
Ah, okay.
Don't forget it.
I use Joe's code.
Oh, screw.
Ah.
So are you from Southern California originally?
Yeah, well, I'm first generation Egyptian.
Okay.
I think probably only Phil knows that.
Yeah.
Because we've known he lived across the street from one of my friends that I grew up with, like a childhood best friend.
Yeah, so
She's
we've known each
first
other
generation.
forever.
Yeah,
that
for a
was
long time.
like, I don't even remember how far back that
I
goes,
think
which
we
is
met
weird.
maybe high school or middle school.
Oh, it was high school.
Was it high school?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's getting a little weird.
I know.
But that's okay. It's okay.
So he lived across the street from my childhood best friend, and then I dated his friend from high school.
The aforementioned surfboard fiance. Yeah.
Okay.
And then and then we rekindled again at Anchor Bar when I ran into you.
Yeah.
That was the last time. Oh, and then I ran into you at the Rec Room.
Yeah.
The first night they had a show, I think.
But I kind of put those in the same box though.
Yeah,
because
the comedy
we're,
scene.
we're hanging out
Yeah,
with the same
that was
people,
the
going to the
comedy
same
scene.
things. Like we're gonna run into each other again. But yeah,
That's
man,
crazy.
I mean, having you on, I've missed it, because I haven't been around for like way too long. I've just been getting busy, and when you don't do it enough, you don't think about it,
Yeah.
And I've still been writing like crazy though.
That's
So
good.
that's
That's like really important, honestly. Because
Yeah.
I feel like I do everything else, but I don't write enough.
Yeah, so
I practice the same jokes.
Yeah, taking all the time off, I'm not sure I've got like. Well, I mean, I guess I've got this, and this I feel like this works
It's
it
a
out for
good
me,
outlet,
just kind of
yeah.
like without the audience. And when I travel and do, my other work for stuff, like, a lot of times I'm doing stage shows and talking to big groups of people. And so I'm just finding that crowd kind of wherever I can. And every
Yeah.
time I do get myself in one of those situations, I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could do fucking 10 minutes on mushrooms, but
That's probably not a
this
good
is
idea.
not
let
the
me say.
audience. Yeah.
I feel like you always have to like assume the audience is like, I relate it to like being a teacher. Like you always have to assume the audience are kids who don't know their 1, 2, 3s and ABCs. Like you have to provide all the premise and like everything and like when you're like intoxicated or on shrooms or sometimes when you're too high, you feel like you can't provide enough premise all the time.
Oh, no,
So
the
have you-
the
Yeah.
material,
how
Or
many-
you provide too much. I don't know. You
How many
material
times
is
have
all
you
right.
did this while you were on the mucks?
never.
Never. Oh, so
Only
you
just like
just-
really high. I could imagine though, just being like really
I
high.
couldn't imagine being
or
up there and do that. I wouldn't do it. I'd be like,
Being on
and I'm
mushrooms, yeah,
what
I
is
don't
wrong
know.
with you?
No, I can't have more than like a drink, or I get like way too into my head about it. Like I'm usually pretty normal and calm, but if I have like 2 drinks, I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling a little bit. Oh god, I'm feeling a little bit. Am I gonna remember everything? And I just start to fucking spiral, just like everybody else does. But
Yeah.
that's why I try to keep it calm on there. But the material is about the mushrooms. I don't go up there on mushrooms.
On mushrooms.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny if you did. I'm
Yeah.
sure people have too.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
I'm sure.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
sure
I've-
somebody
I've done something similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
put yourself up there. But so you're saying you wanted to stab yourself in the gut before you went up every time?
Every time before you go up, yeah, because it is like gut wrenching. Like you don't know. You're in front of like a bunch of people who could completely judge you,
Right.
And like I've seen things go south all the time when you go up there. Like people will curse you out over your material. They'll think you're a bigot or you're a racist. Like it's really hard to go on that kind of platform and like just say whatever the fuck you want.
I feel like now more than ever, especially,
Yeah.
that's the thing is like people are really, comedians especially, are really trying to fight for that, like to keep people just understanding that, hey, it's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's what we're here for. It's like watching
Keep
a fucking
everything's
movie where
lighthearted.
somebody's blowing somebody's head off. It's not real. Like this is
Yeah.
just a thing to come up here and laugh at this, like get an escape some way from all of that crazy shit that's out there,
Yeah.
But
And I mean, sometimes you do just need to like put it on that pedestal to laugh at it too.
Yeah.
Like, and I've seen some of the only way I can really digest a lot of like, big topics and sometimes some more boring ones is through fucking bits, man. That's why
yeah.
there's such a space now for comedy in news
Politics,
and politics
yeah.
and all this crazy stuff going on.
No,
And that's
for
why
real.
that's why all these late night shows have totally just converted over to being about politics. Because I mean, times are so fucking crazy, man. There's no way you can't. But that makes all these things so much more palatable. Because if I
Right.
just gotta watch CNN like dryly report about,
Gets so
half
depressed.
of the empty
Ugh.
cabinet seats and
Ugh.
all the
Oh,
the
yeah.
fuckery going on at this very moment. Straight up.
I think the comedy scene, like how comedy reports on politics and there's all this different material, I think it also is a way to keep us humble as a nation. Like,
Right.
there's someone always talking shit on us. And, like, we all know as Americans, like, we're full of ourselves. Like, we think our shit doesn't stink compared to, like, other countries. And then you see, like, something like the Colbert Report, Jon Stewart, and they just shit on everything and everybody. And you're like, oh, my God,
Yeah.
like, way to bring me back to reality. Like, we don't live in the best state or the best country, and we...
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
was
issues.
Well, there's
to me,
definitely
those
that
were, like-
divide where like a lot of people can laugh at it and joke
Yeah.
about that and be like, dude, like, come on, for real, like, let's own up to this. And then there's just an unfortunate amount of people that really, for whatever reason, have never gotten outside of a little bubble, or
Yeah.
even within a thought, they've never thought about anything else outside of their carrot. So it's just that automatic foot in the ground, like, heels in the sand, fucking just like.
What I have
not
been
moving.
enjoying a little bit lately is that both bubbles do kind of have more comedy presences, and that like there's a more, I don't know, well represented like difference of opinions like throughout comedy as a whole, and you see a lot of these people kind of back to back and getting along with each other too.
Right.
And a lot of what it does, especially to me, like I was just listening to, Joe Rogan. He had on, who was it? Not Jordan Peterson. It was Steven Crowder, who
Oh, yeah.
a lot of people fucking do not like. And if you've got different clips of him, there's some specific ones I'm like, oh yeah, no, I get that. But if you sit and you listen to these guys for like 3 hours, it's like, okay,
Is that the Vice guy you're talking about? No, that's
no,
not him.
he's like
Is
I'm
he
trying to
the
think
other
of, like,
guy
a-
that was on like the conservative like talk show guy?
no, he's
Who-
like a younger guy doing like mostly doing like comedy based stuff, but talking about news and politics. But he's a conservative guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I do know. Is it the one where they got in a fight? Like they got like it was definitely the most heated one with Joe. Like they were kind of like the guy was just they were going at it.
I think I remember which one you're talking about. I
I
don't
forget
know
his
if
name.
it was him.
But anyways, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
But
You guys love Joe Rogan, huh?
Huh?
You guys love Joe Rogan.
Oh,
Huh?
see,
I
here we
think-
go.
yeah, I do.
I just bring him up once, and I hate bringing him up now because
Uh-huh.
it feels weird now. I do like Joe Rogan a lot.
Uh-huh.
I respect him. I listen to his show, but it's one of those things where like I used to like Rick and Morty a lot too until
Okay.
everybody started liking Rick and Morty a little bit too much, and that's kind
Really?
of how I
still
feel
have
about it.
never. Oh, I've seen one episode of Rick and Morty, but I don't remember. It was like the first one ever.
But the hype
I
and like
still
the
didn't even
fandom
get it.
kind of
Yeah.
kills it for you a little bit, And so to me, like, I think his show has attracted a lot of people who are taking away some weird lessons and some wrong ones,
Mm-hmm.
And the one I was listening to, I see how people can get that and can use that as justification for, shitty ideas. Like I heard somebody describe Joe Rogan as goop for men. Goop is like, thank you, see, she gets it. That's Gwyneth Paltrow's blog. And I'm like, oh, that fucking makes so much sense because it's just so
I think that's
hyper-masculine.
with anything though. I think that it's just no matter what you put out there, somebody's gonna take it. No, it doesn't matter who it is.
They're
There's
gonna
gonna be
shit
people
on it,
taking
yeah.
it a different way and spinning it to fit whatever their fucking narrative is or what they want it to be. That's just kind of like a good example is this group on Facebook that I follow that I talk so much shit on because it is just nonsense. Like 99% of it's like fucking nonsense. And there's nothing but trolls on there. You can never have like a serious thing. But then after a while, you kind of like
That's
like
called
that.
Facebook.
Yeah, well, but it's like all about like juvenile stuff. Like it's like specifically like somebody will just go up and like, hey, what are the best drugs you've ever done? And then people go on there and start talking, and then it's like automatic ignorant. Like it's like the way you see these comments from people on both sides in the political spectrum arguing and sounding dumb as fuck. Talking to each other. It's like worse than that, but about the even dumber things. And you're just
So
like
it's about taking drugs.
well, it's
I'm
like
like Phil created that.
no, it's totally
so hard
it's
for a
weird
long time,
because
like, not having a part of it.
the hilarious thing is that like that people were getting so annoyed at how people were just trolling left and right. They're trying to be all inclusive, and it started off, I guess, like very just informative and helpful for people, as well as a place for people to build each other up. And then
So
you
this
get the
wasn't
trolls.
like a meme page. It sounded like
No.
just a place for people to shitpost. but-
No, like some people post memes, but most of the time they like ask for opinions, or they just say like thoughts and like, you know, kind of get a consensus. And it's always like a very divisive thing. Like, okay, it's either this or this. And people go on there, and it's funny because you've got people like, I could see a little bit of myself in every one of these people. Like at one time I feel like I'm going to be a troll to this, and so I'm going to go and say something or be this way. But the point is that they created another group with the same name. They just changed the I to a 1 in order to avoid the fucking shit posts and all that other stuff, and try to act so self-righteous or whatever, saying, oh, all these people are taking this away and that away, and then it just started up again. It started up on that.
Sounds like a great way to fucking get everybody to keep following you and doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And so
We've all talked shit on Facebook
Right.
and Instagram, though,
Oh,
right?
yeah, totally.
We've all been the
Most
troll.
definitely.
that's what I love about this, though.
We've
It's like
all
you
done
see,
it.
You see yourself in all these people. You're like, oh fuck, and then
I get it.
you just yeah.
I've literally spent like straight up hours like researching a goddamn Facebook comment, like making sure it was like well cited, and it was like, you know, reading over it again,
Okay.
making sure like all these creative ways to tell you that you're wrong and fuck you, and it's like 2 pages long. And then I sit down and I'm like somewhat satisfied with myself for like, you know, maybe half a second, and I'm like, I just wasted a lot of goddamn time.
And you probably didn't even send it, huh?
No, I always do.
Oh, okay,
I'm not
because
gonna put in that much and then not send that shit.
that was from a Rick and Morty episode too, where she's like, Jerry, you once like debated, or what did she say? Something like you looked over some guy's comment and you stayed up for hours after you sent it, clicking the refresh button to see if he responded to you.
Oh
We're
man.
all obsessive like that. Girls are just like that with likes on Instagram.
What do you mean?
Oh.
Oh, trying to get
I know,
likes.
I'm like that too.
We'll reload the page 100 times to see
That's
if we've gained like
that's
a grip more
totally
likes.
this weird program thing. Like as we talked
See,
about.
no, I've accepted that. Like,
Yeah.
I know that so much of like my self-worth is based on the validation that I get from social media, and I openly admit that shit. You know, I love attention. We all do.
Oh, hell
all
yeah.
right?
That's why we all
Well,
do this shit.
It's
We're on
like
a
a
fucking
fidgeting
podcast
thing.
making
Yeah.
our own farts right now. We get up on stage and talk to people. And,
Yeah.
look for that.
It's basically a nervous habit. It's like biting your fucking fingernails. You know, you're just like out somebody and like you're kind of just sitting around and you're just scrolling down and like looking and seeing what likes you got. At least that's what it is for me when I'm on my phone out and about.
Oh,
It's
it's
just like
probably
I'm not paying
so
attention to what it is.
unhealthy,
I'm
but-
just like that's what I'm doing. My brain's like Instagram, Facebook, check it. What's going on? But
yeah, it's probably super unhealthy.
Yeah.
But fuck it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
That's so weird. Like, what are our kids gonna do? Are they gonna be? They're gonna be us, but worse.
but
Yeah.
then
What is the
Yeah,
worst of
it-
us?
It's like, what if a bunch of narcissists raised like
More narcissists.
more narcissists with more
That's crazy.
technology
That's
to,
scary,
like,
actually.
subsidize that? Yeah, no.
I'm never.
Culture
having kids.
is
like it's not gonna happen.
But
I think that a lot of people our age are like starting to feel that way now. Like they just don't see the point, you know, and
having
bringing
kids.
somebody else into
Yeah.
this world, you know. And it's not to talk shit on people that have kids and that, you know, it's changed your life. I mean, I can totally see that and understand that too. But fuck, man,
Just
I
keep
could
those little
barely
shits
take
away
care
from
of
me.
myself.
I know.
And like, it's not that we're saying that it's bad to have kids or anything or trying to like play, you know, make that seem in any way negative. It's just the fact that like, fuck, like, you know, I get kind of, you know, we all kind of probably get looked at like weird for not wanting to be
that.
fucking married and have kids. Because people are like, you know, you want to have kids one day. You know, you want to get married. And I'm like,
I'm not
I
too sure.
don't know anymore.
I'm
Like,
not
I
too
really
sure
don't know. Like,
what I want to have for dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
can't make those kind of decisions.
exactly.
Like,
and,
that's really hard.
you know,
and that's okay. And
Yeah,
none of us
that's
in this room
okay.
are alone in that one, because it's
Yeah.
like it's that like traditional shit, you know? I honestly thought I was like a little, like, not until just this moment, but for a while it's like I was completely okay with the idea of not having kids or getting married, because I don't know, I just going back to what we were just talking about, I love myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
okay with taking care of
I
myself for a
mean,
while.
I thought marriage was for me. I was engaged at once, but
No.
I knew it wasn't like the right thing because it was like really hard to plan for it. Do you know what I mean? Like it was hard to like be like, oh shit, we have to go look for a venue, or like, oh shit,
you just
I
didn't
have
want-
to, like,
you're like,
I
"Ah,"
just
you
didn't
weren't
want to
excited
plan
about
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
It made me more anxious, and then I was like, you know, my sister told me, she's like, you're never too sure even after you get married, and I was like, you're in the wrong marriage then, because I don't think that's the answer.
yeah.
yeah.
But,
Like why?
I don't know.
That's just like simple question that nobody's really been able to give me a solid answer. Like, you just know once you've already done it and you can't go back. Like, no,
like, how
that's
do you
not an answer.
know? How are you like
No.
100% sure? And I think having kids and getting married is like a huge sacrifice. And like for our generation, like you said, we're narcissists, so we like can't sacrifice that.
I've gotten into some pretty heated like arguments. Well, not from my side, but they would get mad. Like, especially people that I worked with that, you know, ask me, when are you going to have kids? You know, and like, they take it as a personal offense when I say, like, I don't want to, because they have, like, kids. Yeah. And then they're just, you know, they're on their second or third kid, and they're young, like, some even younger than me. And then they take it as a personal attack. Like, I'm trying to say, you know, like, oh, like, saying anything bad about it, which I'm not. I'm just like, no, dude, I mean,
do you know why those guys are getting offended? Because they're like, shit, not having kids was an option. Like, literally, they don't know. They didn't know that was not an option.
I don't know, but I mean, I really do believe that they find and they believe, you know, from the way that they say it, that they are just super happy to fucking have kids. Like, they do fulfill their life. Like, it makes all the crazy mindless work that they have to go through all the time worth it for some reason. There's
because like, maybe they don't have anything else.
Well, you know, and that's the
know
thing
is
you
like,
don't want to, you never want to assume
kids.
that, you know, you never want to go up and be like, well, sorry, you don't have anything going on, because that's where that sense of, well, these fucking pieces of shit are just narcissistic, self-indulgent motherfuckers, don't give a shit about anything else but themselves, and they're lazy. And
but then we chose like, that life. So,
so like, my dad is so much of a different person than I am, you know, and he's always been the hard worker, and he and my parents were like, you know, they've been together still, like, they're like the best examples for what a good marriage should be, you know. And my grandparents too, they were together forever. So that's what I wanted to do when I was young. I was like, well, that's what you do. You find a girl, you get in a relationship, and you marry her. Like, you know, it was just like, but then you realize
there's no other option for them.
Well,
I came from a family like that too. It's like, okay, once you finish school, you get married. And I was going along that route, and it was fucking stressful. Right. It was stressful as fuck.
But when you have to get burned to kind of break away from that.
It's not.
Because I would have. I could easily see how my life, at significant points in my life, where I was going to go down a certain road. I thought I had it figured out. I thought this was the way it was going to be. And I was like stoked on it. And it could have been that way. Like, I could have like plateaued at that point, or just, you know, kept going that way. And some shit went down. And this is what I say, like, you know, whatever it is looking out for me, because I fucking... all of the things that were terrible that happened to me saved me from like something that could have been fucking bad, you know? Like, there's a lot of different things that are going on in the world today that make the dynamic of a relationship so much more difficult to maintain, you know? And so anyways, just like, it's crazy how it just went a completely different way for me. And I'm at the point now where, like, I never in a million years would have thought.
People have yet to hit me with a compelling argument as to really why you should, if you don't really feel like it that much. You know, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who feel differently than I do about, you know, everything, about kids, about marriage, stuff like that. And, you know, awesome, like, good for them. There are a lot of people who want to do that and be that.
Sure.
And that's great. But there's a lot of people who are doing that who did not really want to sign up for that. They just felt like they had to, you know? Because I got a problem with traditions and just doing things because that's the way they've been done. It doesn't offer any room for nuance or, you know, even just, I don't know, new ideas, because the world is different. I'm sorry. Our experience being in our late 20s is different than our parents' experience being late 20s. And to say, like, well, that's just how you feel when you're then, and that's just how you feel. Nah, man. Shit is different now, undeniably. Nobody has walked the road that we have. That's why all these generations are different, you know. And so, I don't know. I've just yet to see a need to follow that and just put yourself in a box. Because
I won't knock people who are actually married at a young age and have kids, and they seem to have it all figured out. Like, I'm sure that is for some people.
It's a whole different world.
And we can't say that could have been us too. Like, that's a little ignorant to be like, oh, you know, that's never crossed my mind, or that couldn't have been us, or, you know, you could have made it work. But it's kind of like it didn't work out for you. That's not your destiny. Like
Sure.
what is out there for you? And
Sure.
for them, that was their destiny, and that's why they're happy, and that's probably why they love having kids and are like, this is the best thing ever.
Right.
Like,
For everyone
Well,
of
for
their
them, that was
Yeah,
their
for
destiny. Like
them,
for my
that
parents, that
is.
was their destiny, was
Yeah.
to raise kids very well and give good lessons for
Yeah.
them to kind of follow and chase their dreams, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's kind of what me and my sister it's weird, you know, we're like 30 years old and feeling like I'm like, you know what, you know, an old 18-year-old was. It's like, you know, barely at that point where you're like, okay, now you're starting to be considered an adult, because
Yeah,
the rest of the world
it's a
doesn't really
trap.
treat 20-year-olds like they're adults.
No.
You know, they're like the new
I
late
still don't
teens
feel
and
like
shit.
an adult. I still don't feel like I get treated like an adult. But I do a lot of adult shit.
Yeah, we all have to, but we
Yeah.
don't. But you're right. I feel younger every year. Like
Yeah.
not physically, because there's shit that, you know, you got you do feel that part of
Yeah.
it, but fucking like the mental aspect, I feel like, whoa, dude, like
I thought the day was going to come where I just started feeling and acting noticeably different. And I've been waiting for that day since I was 14 years old. I realized, like, oh, fuck, I'm still fundamentally that same kid. Like, I didn't really... Like, obviously, I grew up, but, like, I'm not drastically different. Like, I don't... There are no, like, core values to me that are way different now than they were then. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll just be a kid forever then. I'll just fucking Tom Hanks this motherfucker.
Yeah, I kind of do feel like that. The Toys R Us kid still, speaking of Toys R Us, they're fucking closing all of their stores.
Oh, are they?
I just
think
heard
I
that
did
today.
see that, like on I forget what news source.
You mean I can't
Facebook.
get in my
Probably
car
Facebook.
and drive 20 minutes to a store and pay a little bit more than just saying, hey, Alexa, get me a fucking Transformer?
God damn it,
Don't
Phil!
say
Why
that,
do you have
'cause
to
Alexa
bring?
literally might order it.
Why
I'm
don't-
like afraid for
Is-
you people to even joke about it. 'Cause
is
it
that-
might happen.
Is that a command? I don't know if that's an appropriate command. If it is, hats off to Amazon then.
I mean,
Get me a fucking Transformer?
dude,
like-
they're listening to everything we're saying right now, and because I guarantee you, I'm gonna go look on Amazon or like just get some ads on Facebook tomorrow of some random thing we talked about tonight. It's happened. It's happened a lot. It's fucking.
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
It's
Dude, it's
fucking strange.
it's the phones. They're listening, man.
They're listening.
Oh.
They're
For sure.
straight up listening.
Isn't that what cookies are?
Kind of. Cookies are...
What?
Yeah.
I
Chocolate
swear,
chip cookies
it's
or
like
what?
No,
it
cookies
memorizes your data, like whatever you say, like every movement, right?
Cookies
And then-
get dropped into, like, if you have a Google account or you're on
Okay.
Chrome or any browser that you use and you go to a website, they'll drop a cookie into your computer that says, oh, I've been here.
In the computer.
Yeah, and so they track data and stuff like that. And, like, not specific things, but they just track things that you've done. So, like, if you've ever... I'm sure
cookie.
you've seen ads. You looked at something on a site or you clicked on an ad and then you didn't get anything. And then for 3 months after that, you were getting ads for that same thing in that little sidebar there. That's what the cookies do.
If you ever are shopping for something online, okay, and then go on Facebook, you'll notice there's a bunch of ads like for whatever you were shopping for online, and that's your cookies. Like that's them being like, we are watching your every move.
You
We're
can
gonna
actually
sell
see-
you shit.
You can actually see your demographic profile on Facebook too. You can go like Facebook / advertising profile or something like that. I don't know. Somebody who like is really interested can Google this because I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I actually saw like a whole breakdown of like everything that they had gathered about me based on browsing habits.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
That's why when you can
That's
log into
not
things
fair.
with Facebook or Google and stuff like that, and they track all that shit. It goes into this giant database and makes it. They build a full profile of who you are and what you're interested in, so that they can like really specifically target.
So
So they
So
know.
it's kind of like in a weird way, like the Christian's prophecy of like when you die, everybody's going to see your whole life up in heaven and stuff like that, except not really in
Not
heaven.
really.
People are just going to be looking and seeing like all your search history, like, oh, he watched this porn, he did this,
I know,
he
for
did
real.
that, all
I
of
feel
your
like
bad
all
shit.
they
Like,
really
they're like,
know
oh my
is
god,
that
see, I told you, they're watching.
we watch way more porn than what anyone thinks.
Yes.
All of us do.
Oh, dude, well,
At
we were
every
talking about it
waking
last.
hour.
We were talking about it last week, though. The weird thing about porn is that, like, no matter who looks at your history, they're going to think and assume that you are into some way freakier shit. Because when we mostly watch porn nowadays, it's not like the old days where they had like stories and stuff. It's just like people banging it out, and you usually
I
just.
don't think you have to tell anybody how porn is nowadays.
Well, I'm just
So
saying.
you can skip this part of that, the preamble to your story.
Well, okay, so the point is that, you just like find a person that's like good looking or whatever, and then, or whatever you're attracted to, but you don't pay attention to the story. And then so most of them, like 99% of them, are probably like,
Or like the
sister,
hot-
brother, like weird,
the hot,
incestuous
like,
shit that you're like,
5-minute clips of
fucking
it.
weird now.
it's weird as fuck. Like, who
Yeah.
really watches this? But there's people that do, apparently.
It used to
But,
be,
like-
yeah, you're right, because it used to be like hour porn videos, right? And
used
then
to be
now
movies.
we go to like Pornhub,
And
and it's
that's
just like 5-10 minutes because they just snip the hottest parts out of that. But
Well,
now
but-
you're
but
seeing
now
a
it's like,
lot more
oh,
home videos
like
too.
watch like banging my sister, like it's like what, this isn't
Yeah,
like
what is
porn
the
buddy, but like
storyline? Yeah,
but you can see
They're
the
all like-
thumbnail and you're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you're
that's
inspired
that's
of
my
that.
point. Is
But
that
that's
like,
I
skewing
feel
the data.
I feel so bad anytime I like watch any of those, and it's like I'm like, how do I know that girl's not like 14 or 16? Like, how am I? Well, usually they'll have a tattoo, so you're like, that this girl is 18.
that's the way you
But
guys.
still, like some of them look really young, and you'll feel bad. You're like, am I committing a crime by watching this video?
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I can't.
I would
I
assume
can't.
anything that's like produced or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's like shot on a cell phone, like you don't fucking know.
You don't know,
Yeah.
right?
You don't know.
I
And
don't
that's
know.
another thing. It comes off of a cell phone. Shit. You better just like never record yourself with any. Don't do it. Just don't record yourself with anything. You know.
Or if we all do it, we take its power away. That's what I'm saying. All right, 2 opposing views. I think I won that debate. Okay, you're welcome.
I'm thinking about it. You got a point.
Don't
there.
think about it too much.
If everybody does it, yeah, this is. A new
So
I think
we
a new
shouldn't be
movement that we're
recording with our
starting, Phil.
phones. Why shouldn't we be recording, like watching porn with our phones, or recording with
Recording any like thing that you're doing with your partner because you
Why?
because what if somebody fucking hacks your phone and puts it out on the internet? Who knows? I don't know.
Also,
That is
kind of a
true.
big like.
That's a
What
big.
if? I mean,
That's
like-
a big.
Okay,
like,
what if their fucking ex or somebody just decides to get it somehow and fucking puts it
No,
out
that's
there?
seriously fucked up.
Yeah.
Don't
But
you
it
have
happens.
some
It's also-
rights
yeah.
against
You
that?
think that
though?
all those
That's like
girls
going
that
against
are
your
in those
privacy.
fucking things out
No,
there?
people will go to
You have
jail
rights,
if they do
yeah,
that.
if they do
Right.
that.
And I agree with that.
And
Like,
I'm just trying to
don't
get
fucking do
rich,
that.
so fuck it. Just kidding. Trying to be Kim K. Just kidding.
Dang.
yeah, but at the same time, I don't know if it like ruining. Well, actually, maybe it's because I'm in my own little bubble here.
Who knows?
Can't
I don't know,
imagine.
man. Black Mirror's got me fucked. It's like
Mirrors.
Black Mirror.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that. I've seen a couple episodes.
It's just like
It's a trip.
It's like-
but you know what? I watch that shit. I'm like, really? Did it have to go that far? Like, how is she that stupid? Like, no one
Yeah.
is that stupid.
yeah. I mean,
No
there
one.
is
I haven't seen the new season
the
yet.
great. Oh, really? It's pretty good.
I just
great
watched
thing
the
about
first one.
that.
I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah. So you
The
got
Star Trek one.
yeah. It's okay. It's all right. I mean. It was that one was way more produced as like a kind of like a cheesy sitcom like comedy thing than like most of the other episodes.
Okay.
You know, it was more American. I feel like on that episode than a lot of the other ones are like very British. You could tell with when they had the more British actors and stuff
Okay.
on there. Those ones kind of keep to the like horror sci-fi part of it, where like this one was kind of cheesy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can get down with that.
but
I don't
you're like,
remember.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I just saw one where like this boy actually runs over the biker. It's like the first season. Runs over that biker and then I don't even know. We're
Runs
not
over
going to
the-
talk about it. Because literally then the lady ends up being the killer and kills everybody to try to cover up her secret.
Huh?
Oh, the Black Mirror, right?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
talking
that's,
about an
yeah, that's
episode
from
of Black
last.
Mirror.
That's from last season. Yeah.
Yeah, the first season.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
the
no,
third
that's-
episode.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, the first Netflix season. So yeah, I remember that one.
It was
And-
weird.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert. That kid kind of had it coming because he was jerking off to kids. So
So
that
what
was like the whole point.
what
Wait,
other
I
like
don't
shows
know
on
if we're
Netflix
talking
and
about-
comedy do you like we usually watch? Like what comedians do you kind of
For
Like,
inspiration.
yeah
for-
either
My
that or just
inspiration
really
for
like
comedy. Shit, there's so many.
or who do you just like watching?
I love Sarah Silverman. I love her I Love America episode
liked
she
it a
did.
lot. It was
yeah,
like-
it's so good.
I liked that it was like a little like weird, not like
Uh-huh.
outright one thing. It was very eclectic,
yeah.
and very Sarah. And if you, I don't know, I feel like a lot of my
Yeah.
interests kind of line up with hers, and so I dug it. I like that show.
Right now, also on HBO, Two Dope Queens, Jessica Williams and Phoebe Robinson.
Yeah,
they
killing
killed it. They're killing it right now. I've been
I
a
think it was-
long time listener to Dope Queens, their podcast for years,
Yeah.
and then they finally got their show, and it's just a trip.
I mean, like that show, that their podcast is pretty new, right? Like it's only a couple years old.
Yeah.
And so I was stoked for them when I heard the HBO specials that they were getting.
Yeah, it was
And-
crazy. I feel like it happened kind of fast, right?
Yeah, I want to say it wasn't even 2 years ago that like started that. Like
When
I remember,
they first started it, right?
I remember hearing like ads and hearing the both of them kind of go around and do a little, the podcast circuit with all their friends. And so hearing them pop up, and I don't feel like that was that long ago.
No.
And so for them to already kind of turn and make that into an HBO thing, I'm like,
And then
fucking
Jessica
right
had
on.
her own Netflix movie. She had a
She did?
Netflix thing. Yeah, Jessica Williams has her own Netflix movie. And then Phoebe Robinson wrote a book, Can't Touch My Hair, which was like New York Times like bestseller.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, they're just killing the game.
No, I've loved Jessica since
So-
The Daily Show.
yeah,
That's
she's
where I
great.
got to know her. I was like, oh, she's fucking good. you
Yeah,
know?
she is. What else? Obviously, I love like the bitchy cuntiness of Natasha Leggero.
Oh yeah.
Like I love her. So yeah, I would say those. I've also always been a big fan of Amy Poehler. I know she doesn't do stand up, but she does a lot of improv
She's
and
great.
comedy stuff.
Yeah,
and then
her,
her whole Parks and Rec thing was just crazy good. And
She actually there was a movie that I saw recently with her and Zach Galifianakis. She was his sister, and like Owen Wilson was in it too. And it was kind of like a stupid comedy, but it also was very, very serious and like dark. And it was just interesting because, she definitely showed a different side, more like a more serious side to her like role. She was very believable. Like it wasn't like a some sort
Like
of slapstick
goofy,
comedy.
yeah.
It wasn't anything like that, or it wasn't even like Parks and Rec. It was more
Yeah.
like she
Super
wasn't
serious.
she wasn't really funny.
Yeah.
It was one of those roles, and
that's crazy.
You know, I've been impressed lately, like in the era of Netflix and this golden age of TV where there's so much, room for people. People are casting out comics and comedy people for other stuff all the time. At how many of them have transitioned over to like dramatic roles super well and super quick.
Yeah.
I saw this movie, Joshi, and it was with, do you know Thomas Middleditch?
dude,
It's the guy from Silicon Valley.
I'm okay. See,
He's like a big-
that's
he's like a big-
that's how you have to talk to me about celebrities.
Yeah,
Like, he's
he's-
the guy from this show. Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah, but
about.
he's been a big improv guy, and like
Okay.
he's around like the whole scene a lot. He's been around for a long time, and he does this monologue at the end of the movie that like brought me to like tears, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Is he the redheaded guy?
No,
The
he's
curly
the
head
like the really
guy?
skinny main guy from Silicon Valley,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I know him from being so goofy because I'm such a big fan, like going down to Largo and stuff like that. Listen to Comedy Bang Bang, which he's on all the time. And just to see him turn around like that and pull that out, I was like, what the fuck? This guy's got chops,
Yeah, he's got talent. That's hard. I could never. Like a lot of people who do comedy also like try to do acting and like other things to try to get their name in the scene.
Mhm.
I think it would be so hard to like transfer skills, like to be able to be like super funny from stand up to doing like, I don't know, like improv, because a lot of them do commercials and do like improv acting, to straight up being an actor. Like those are all hard skills
Yeah, I
that
can't
are very
act
different.
for shit, man.
No, I couldn't.
No.
That's hard.
Because
you
you have to be
cannot.
I'm barely good enough at being myself. Like I
I
can't be
know.
anybody else. The fuck?
Yeah, right. Like I would be one of those people that can only like play myself. Like be like just a typecast, like just in like a Judd Apatow movie. Like you just play yourself
You're
in every
always the
Judd
same
Apatow
Yeah.
movie
You're just
that
like
you
your
ever
mom.
were.
Yourself.
That's funny. I mean, out of all of those guys, it'd probably be like what Jonah Hill that was the most like diverse. Well, James Franco too, obviously, because he started off.
I'm thinking
more
so.
in,
But yeah,
like,
he started
in
dramatic
dramatics.
and then went the other way. But none of them are comics though. You
Right.
know?
Wait, so Jonah Hill never
Like-
did comedy, like stand up?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I feel like
Seth Rogen did.
I feel like
though.
all of them at some point
Yeah.
have like tried it, but
Yeah.
that was not like their
Their main
focus
thing?
or thing. And I may be talking out of turn here,
Well,
but I'm like, I mean, fuck, if anybody's like qualified to be a historian on this kind of
I
shit.
kind of started
I think
watching
I might have.
that Judd Apatow documentary for a second, where he goes back and does stand up. Like
Judd
that's
Apatow
what
actually
Yeah.
did a stand-up
But-
special on Netflix.
he-
It's
Did you
great.
like it though?
Yeah.
I
I
kind of.
thought it was pretty. He
I
just
stopped-
talked about all his movies, making his movies.
I just.
Right?
I don't know. Maybe I gotta
Yeah.
watch it
He
again.
talked a little too much about
Like,
it.
Okay, I definitely gave him more leeway because it was Judd Apatow,
Mhm.
you know? And if it wasn't, I don't know how, like, forgiving I would have been on that one.
Mhm.
But some like, enough of his stories were actually pretty damn good. And I am, like, I do respect the hell of the guy and everything that
Oh
he's, like,
yeah.
done for comedy, and how when he was, like, a kid, he would... does he talk about this in the special? Or, like, going around interviewing comics when he was, like, 16?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he would call, like, like Carson and Letterman and like got interviews with them to talk about comedy and like Gary Shandling, and he's like, and they all agreed to it before they realized he was like 16, and it was just like just for him. But he like that's how he talks about like getting his kind of start in all that. And I do like how vulnerable kind of he gets and how that translates into a lot of his movies too. Actually, everything he's done, that way back to Freaks and Geeks, and putting that and making it so relatable and human. Like,
well, he's definitely
people
started.
got flaws.
Yeah, he definitely started like a whole genre of fucking comedy that took us away from the Dumb and Dumbers and Anchorman, because as we were evolving, it went from that to being more just about like real life situations, shit that we can all relate to with characters that we can all relate to, and a lot of fun, unique one-liners about like, social commentary. There's a lot of satire in there too. There's just like it started with 40-Year-Old Virgin, I think, was the first one that like really took off, right, from him.
Yeah.
And then
did Pineapple Express a Judd Apatow? No.
I mean, but they're all the same. But it kind of
It's
in
all
the
these guys
same
gonna work
kind
together
of
and end up in a
genre,
lot of the same shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these are all the people like inspired me to kind of get into it kind of when I was starting out, because I didn't I don't think of it. It wasn't until like somewhat recently, like the past 5 years, that I really started to think of them all as different things, as stand-up being so different from writing, so different than acting, and being able to like Twitter has kind of like made all this stuff kind of more accessible, and podcasts as well. So I'm like feeling like I'm getting a better sense for it and what I want to do, because ultimately I want my life to be about this in some way, because I mean, you want to be passionate about whatever it is you do, and I know way too damn much about this entire scene. And frankly, if I don't end up doing something with all that information, I'm gonna feel really shitty about myself, because I have wasted so much fucking time. Like, why do I know what Judd Apatow's fucking sophomore year was like? That's gotta be good for something. I need to make it useful for something, because otherwise. Oh,
you
this
just
is
love.
embarrassing.
Well, you love him and you like respect his work, so obviously.
But you're
I think
right.
with anyone, you like truly admire. You would like the other day I was like looking up Sarah Silverman's relationship history, and I just like wanted to know everything about everyone she's ever dated and everything.
That was
I just love Sarah Silverman.
This last week,
Kimmel, and now I'm forgetting her like current boyfriend's name, Michael.
I don't even.
Sheen?
I should probably know this because I looked it up the other night, but
he's like a character actor. He's really good.
That was like me with the band Ween. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ween.
Yep.
They were totally like, in my opinion now, finally that I'm aged and like I've gone through some shit and like just like am giving my honest opinion about what it is. I have like such a different view on them, and they were fucking just brilliant in every way. Like, they were one band that just did not give a fuck about like what was popular. They did whatever they wanted, but they're so talented. Like they could play so many different styles, and their lyrics, like, they don't give a shit. They're just hilarious. Like, they're funny, but they're real at the same time. It's like at the time when I was younger, I used to like Tenacious D, but that's like more overtly like funny, trying to be funny, than where Ween is more like saying shit, but it's not really like, they're not trying to be funny. She's just like being fucking honest about his fucking relationship and stuff. So I definitely would encourage you guys to go check that out.
I feel so ignorant. Like, what is?
I don't know. I don't know half the people what you guys were saying too. So I'm like trying to relate to you guys in some way. Like it's a band that's like a comedy band too, where you like later on you're going and seeing like, this guy is genius for what he's doing.
There's so much like crossover there between musicians and comedians.
Right.
And they're like their role within society to inspire.
We're
people,
both entertainers, pretty much. Like, music is meant for entertainment. Also, it's like comedy.
Like, another thing that's really cool with them is they influenced SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, it was their music that actually like influenced the world of SpongeBob
that's actually
SquarePants.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So
that's right. I forget where I heard this, but somebody said like all comedians want to be rock stars and all rock stars want to be comedians. That like there is that crossover there. There's something in between that like you get from
weird.
that.
I've never heard that.
I feel like I can definitely.
Or you could be a comedian rock star. That you could be like a comedian that's based off being a rock star and then turn it into being a spiritual guru, like Russell Brand.
Okay. No, well, I still feel like musical comedies Like you just get like
You're
half
not
of
into
both worlds. It's not.
musical
But his
comedy.
work, but his stuff
yeah,
in
that
like,
one I
in,
really
I was
That's
actually watching
talent.
Forgetting.
I don't know. I respect musical comedy. Like,
I was watching
really
Forgetting
hard.
Sarah Marshall before coming here, and that was just like hilarious. You know, Russell Brand doing and Get Him to the Greek too as Aldous Snow, like this character that is much like a lot of the characters where when you break them down, like this is a fucked up person. Like this is a real life. Like they're talking about this person's ego and all of the fucking problems that they have, and then he goes off and he blows your mind in a lot of other ways with a lot of shit that he says. Outside, at least from my mind, anyways.
Yeah, no, like there's this kind of, I mean, this role that comedians have fallen into. I think since Carlin, who I think is probably one of my biggest life inspirations, who really meshed, philosophy and comedy. And one quote that I always like to go back to, and I feel like I've just been quoting fucking nonstop lately because I don't have a fucking original thought. But I remember listening to Loveline, all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Adam Carolla would always be like, Dr. Drew is like the medicine that you got to take, and Adam provides the comedy. That's the sloppy Joe that you shove the dog's pill into, and you throw it in his bowl, and then they eat that, and they end up digesting all this. I'm like, fuck, that right there is, I think, the secret to fixing the world.
No, for real.
Because it's easier to digest, just as you said that, like earlier. It's way easier to watch and get your news from a comedy source than some other fucking source that's like breaking it down for you, and like you're just like, God, I fucking hate everything. I just want to punch the walls right now, Just like makes it a little bit easier to swallow.
Yeah, and it makes people who otherwise would tune out and say like, oh, this shit's boring, no matter how actually important it is.
Right.
To actually give a shit, you know? And so I fucking love and respect all those people who are just fucking killing it like that.
Have you ever tried calling in on Loveline?
Yes. Yes, I have. And
what happened?
oh man, so I was with a bunch of my buddies, right?
Okay.
And so I had this I mean, we're still friends, but I had this buddy who for some reason would always be, whenever we would like see a girl or like meet, a group of chicks, he'd be like, yo, dude, that chick's hot. Like, we should try to have a threesome with her. And we'd be like,
the fuck?
what? And like, that's funny, like once, twice, 3 times. But when it's every single time, we're like,
what do you got going on there, buddy?
And so,
I have a question. Do I know this person?
No.
Okay, good.
Maybe? No, probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
That's a good question. That's a good answer.
Yeah, this was high school though. This was high school around that area, so you might.
Okay, I might.
But anyways, I don't really think anything of it. But we all thought that shit was like funny when we were talking about it with him. And so we went one day to his house, and like we had 2 cars between the 6 of us, whatever. And so my buddy was in the car with him, and we were all like, and we were in like a Del Taco parking lot or something like that. And we just had it tuned to Loveline. And my other buddy was like in the back on the phone, and he was talking to the guy, like the screener. And the screener was like, dude, that is fucking amazing. Yes, we want to get you on. And so we were so ready. And we were like almost on. And they're like, oh, we're out of time for tonight. Like, we can't do it.
Shit,
So
you
we got
waited
cut
all that
off
time.
just before. But man, it would have been so fucking great to talk to Drew and Adam about
really
that.
wanted to at one point. At one time, I was like debating on it. I like really, really wanted to, and I just didn't do it. I chickened out.
I tried calling in one time with my cousin. We were sitting in the 24-hour fitness parking lot off Warner in Springdale.
No shit. That's the same parking lot that I'm talking about.
Really? We had just went to that Del Taco.
That's like your guys' Huntington Beach.
And we were,
yeah.
But I was calling in Loveline because I was having like boy problems. I was like, I need to talk to Dr. Drew. I might have thought I was like pregnant or something. I don't even know. It was so stupid.
It's like, how do you stop me from smashing somebody's surfboard with a fucking bat?
For real. That's probably what it was. So we called in, and like there was just like, we thought the line had gotten picked up. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like whispering to my cousin. I'm like, oh my God, I think they answered. And then my voice cracks. I'm like, hello. And you hear on the radio, like there's no, like, you think it's you on the phone, right?
Oh,
and we're like, hello. My voice cracked, and it wasn't me. It was like someone else but me. And my cousin started busting up laughing, and we hung up. We were like, oh my God, never again. I'm so glad that didn't happen.
That's a lot of fucking pressure, man.
It is, to be on the radio, on Loveline, and like put your shit out there. And like so many people listen to that.
Right. But then, I mean, at the same time, who's really going to know you or listen to you? Like, what are the odds that like somebody that you know is going to... I mean, back in the day, I guess I just don't listen listen to it anymore, so I don't know that many
Well, it's
people.
off the air now, but
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it is, right?
I found
Yeah.
out that not that long ago, Ralph Garman is no longer on the Kevin and Bean show.
yeah, he got fired from Kevin and Bean.
That's fucking
but
ridiculous.
like not fired, but like just straight up let go. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we've been restructuring shit, and he just fucking was
the best
done.
part of the show is gone.
Yeah, they told him like an hour before, they're like, hey, by the way, it's your last day. Like, you've been working there for like 20 years.
Yeah. And
Wait,
literally
why
the
is
reason
that?
for listening. They didn't really get into it, and he never,
Well,
I guess, didn't say anything bad about it, did he?
Not on K-Rock,
Oh.
but I listened to the
Okay.
show that he does with Kevin Smith.
Uh-huh.
I mean, every once in a while, when I heard this, I was like, what the fuck? And so I went to that episode, and he was talking about, it was this very unceremonious thing, and it was kind of just gone about in a really shitty way from everybody involved, you know? And so he went off the air kind of without raising the big fuss that he was, but he was fucking pissed, and rightfully so. And I think it was just because he was making too much money. He'd been there for too long and stuff like that. Because there was no real like inciting incident that like got him fired. He was doing the same thing he'd always been doing.
Right.
But I mean,
I
you
think
gotta
I
imagine
heard
that
somewhere-
the radio stations are not exactly making the
No,
money that
they
they're
Oh,
used
totally
to.
not.
You
Yeah.
know, they're just promotional tools for concerts and selling T-shirts and shit like that, and it's really thinning out the herd there. And so when you've got these big, I guess they're staples, but his name wasn't literally on the name of the show, so they thought he was expendable. But I mean, to be fair, I stopped listening a long time ago, like before they fired Lisa May, before they fired Ralph. So
Yeah, I
got love for
would
this, I just
listen
don't
to
have time for
it
that.
only in the mornings, obviously, when, like, you know, there was nothing, like, when I didn't have something to listen to. The mornings, it's like, if you wake up, it's like getting a McMuffin from fucking McDonald's or something. You get it only because you woke up early enough to get it. Like, you're not like, this is the greatest thing ever. It's
Yeah.
just, now you could get it 24 hours a day, which killed the whole thing. But, like, you know, you only got that shit because, like, fuck, I'm up. It's early enough. I'm going to listen to Kevin and Bean. And, I was listening to it, and they explained. I was wondering why I didn't hear him for a while. Like, oh, he's on vacation or something. And then it finally came up, in like one of the times I was going to work, that he got let go, and I was like, what the? That's the weirdest fucking thing.
Do you guys listen to The Woody Show?
no,
98.7.
I hear it's a good one though.
It's so good. I used to be an avid listener. They're just like super funny. They do like porn star birthdays.
Oh,
If
that's
you
fun.
listen early in the morning, they'll go over like whose birthday it is if they're a porn star.
Yeah, there's just too many good podcasts out there. You know, you can't compete with that.
I did read an article recently though that like our generation gets a lot of their media source from the radio. So like out of like Facebook, like out watching the news or anything, a lot of the shit we hear first is off the radio.
Really?
Which is weird because you don't think of our generation listening to the radio. Now that we could like listen to like podcasts
Spotify.
or
I feel like
Spotify or like iTunes radio, like we have so much. Like I would rather listen to like Pandora on my way home than listen to the radio.
Yeah,
Like, I
commercials,
don't know.
tacky shit, like,
Yeah.
and then repeated songs. Like, I think that like my favorite station for actually listening to music, which I still actually listen to, KCRW, whenever they play.
Yeah, they do good work over there.
I get my music like that I really like the stuff that I actually go and check out later. It comes from there. Anything new comes from KCRW for me. But
That's true. I love being a hipster. So KCRW, like, I get in on so many fucking, artists with like 1,000 followers on Spotify. I'm like, ooh, yeah.
yeah, and
they're
you know,
good
it just
shit
always
too,
sounds
man.
nice to hear Jason Bentley. Hi, this is Jason Bentley in KCRW. Today we're gonna have on Bjork. She's gonna come on and tell
You
us
are
about her
one
new album.
octave away from being Rodney on the Rocks right now, and I kind of love it. I'm not gonna
What's-
lie.
Oh no, that's more like, oh, wait, that's a little high. He's like, oh, Phil, I can't do
We
it.
do impressions
Phil.
on here too.
A little bit, yeah. You want to?
I
Do
can't.
you do impressions in your?
I can't. No, I literally can't. I think that's why I sucked at improv.
Oh yeah. Oh, you tried
Because-
improv.
Because I tried improv, and like improv is like unscripted acting, and like I can't act.
How'd you feel about that?
Oh, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Hardest thing, I think, way harder than stand up for sure.
It's
Yeah,
just too
I mean-
wacky for you or something. Like,
It's a little wacky, and it's just like
You probably
I
it's nature,
don't
it's
think on the spot like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can be witty sometimes, but I can't think of like a whole scenario where you have to like think out a scene and act out a character, and you can only say yes and like no. What if I want to say no? Like you can't in
See-
improv. You can't say no. There's all these rules.
I've never
It's
like.
fucking wacky.
Yeah, I've never done it because I've seen it done poorly so many times. I'm just like, oh god, that's fucking. I don't think I can like bring myself to do that, but I do enjoy that in theory, and that like I know enough people like Jeff and I. We do like whenever we get together, we'll be
The
fucking
banter.
walking,
Yeah, you guys are
walking
making up
to-
your own little games and shit.
We'll be walking to the liquor store, and he'll be like, "Make the most adorable noise you know," and I'll be like, and then I'll be like, I don't know why I did it. It's just it's a reflex, and we both fucking take advantage of each other with that one because we know like there's this improv like sensibility there that goes in it. But when it comes to actually, seeing most improv shows, they're not very good. They're not very
really
good. But I've seen
hard.
some really fucking good ones. But they were like they're straight up like ASCAP. It's like Amy Poehler's up there. Like those are the good ones. And then other than that, you run some rough waters on that one.
Yeah.
I did that early on in like high school in drama, and I was like said to be good, but it's probably like good for like a freshman in high school, like, oh, he completed the exercise.
You never
he
know.
did it,
You should go back and see.
I don't
Improv is fun. It's just a really hard skill to learn.
For me though, because you guys are talking about styles, and I can already tell you that instead of being on camera or on stage doing it, I would be much more effective writing the jokes, like for like a script or something else, like, or at least contributing to that, because I can come up with like a story where, there's context for something to be funny, like, so, you could just jump right into it. But being on stage and doing that, I don't know. It's not my thing. Like, I just don't. And as well as like, if I were to be in a movie, I would have to be like a Judd Apatow character that has to be that one guy every time. Like,
person.
I couldn't be dynamic. Like, and
Exactly.
just do all these
That's why
different
I
roles.
sucked at improv. Like, I would have to be a pirate, and I was literally like English. Like, I couldn't. I didn't know how to do like a pirate accent. I didn't know how to do like an Asian, and then I felt racist as fuck. I was like, I don't know how people do this shit. Like, I just did not like it.
That's probably why I should stay away from that. So I feel like if you just let me go like off the dome, I'm like always looking for a joke. Like at some point, it's gonna get problematic. Yeah, it's probably gonna, something like racial is gonna come out. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna reach out for something that was acceptable like 10 years ago, and it's like not acceptable now, and you're like, fuck, I can't do this shit. Like,
I took improv with this girl who was she was Asian, and she would get offended by some of the stuff. Like, we had this sumo like exercise, and we'd have to we have to talk in sumo accents, and I hated it.
Sumo
I was like,
accents.
they literally were like, you have to like rhyme a word and go or something. I can't even do it.
Okay, wait, I'm starting to side with her now. You're telling me more stuff.
She was so offended. She was like, and I was like, I don't even know. You're right. Like,
well, that's the fucking
so
teacher's
weird.
shit, not yours, right?
Oh yeah, it was a mess for sure. I should probably take improv through like a different teacher to really know, but I also felt like improv was one of those skills where like it was so hard that you wanted to get better at it because it looked fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it was such a, like, I don't know, I see tasks like that. Like, if it's something really, really hard, I'm like, oh my God, I need to like see it through. Like, I need to try and see it through. But with improv, I didn't see myself doing it in the future. Like, I could see myself doing stand-up for the rest of my life. I could never stop.
I think stand-up absolutely falls in that category. It's a fucking, it's hard. It looks hard, but it looks like something that is like manageable to conquer. And once you go up and do it, really if you're cut out for it.
Yeah. Just like in about anything though, like no matter what form of art you do, there's like different areas. Like as an artist, like visual artist, like I draw shit on pen and paper and I use like, markers and stuff, where there's like all kinds of other shit. Like there's so many different mediums for it, the same thing with comedy. It's like you've got your fucking stand-up comedy, you've got your writers. Like, I mean, I have people that I think are amazing on film, but probably would be just terrible on stage, like, or at least, just not as entertaining as they are in films. But you've got so many different things and ways to express it that it sounds like yours is, you found your heart in fucking stand-up then.
Stand-up? I don't even know if it's really finding my heart. I think it's just this hobby that I enjoy doing.
Okay. It's a fun hobby, and you do kind of got to do it with no expectations. And like I definitely want to come back, and I kind of want to come back soon. I've got some more. I've got basic since I've been gone for like I've done it like 4 months. Like I've still been writing this whole time, so I kind of got some shit I want to try out too.
No, for real, you should. Yeah. That's my favorite part is doing new material. Like I'll do. I hate doing shows sometimes because like shows you're just doing all your old material that you already know that's gonna hit. So you just do that. But like my favorite is like going to an open mic and trying out new material and bombing. Like that's my favorite. Like when you completely bomb.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I love it because then you like have to. It's like writing new material.
Right.
You just have to figure out what works about. You've got an idea and you want to make it work, and so you like try it out 100 different times.
And there's definitely some lessons in that I've taken away too, where like I've gone up and I've thrown a line out there and got nothing from it, and I was like, you know what? I knew that wasn't gonna work. Like if I'm not laughing at it, like if that wouldn't really make me laugh.
How are you gonna make other people laugh?
Yeah,
at it?
exactly.
Yeah, it has to be genuinely funny to you in order for you to sell it to other people.
Yeah,
yeah.
And especially being around everybody that like does it way more than I do, like forced me to kind of take it to the next level as well. Because I remember talking to some, oh shit, I forgot his name. It's a heavier black dude, Dwight or something like that. Diedrich, thank you, Diedrich. Yeah, I was talking to Diedrich, and he was telling me like, oh, one of my lines.
Diedrich's also a bitch, and I'm not afraid to say that. So, if he says something negative to you, don't take it to heart.
Oh, but he was telling me like he said something, and I was like, oh shit, I was gonna use that line. It's like that's like a hack line. I'm like, all right, you know what? That's good to know. And I took like the 20 minutes I had before my spot and just rewrote that little section. I'm like, you know what? This is better. And I didn't like...
you said... So, Diedrich actually helped you in that moment.
He actually helped me, whether he meant to or not.
Even though he was being a dick, and he was like, that's a generic... Diedrich has said a lot of shit. And I'm like, mind your business, Diedrich. Everyone has a different journey here.
There's always that one person there's the one person that's trying to make it that's got to tell you, like, how you need to make it.
I didn't bring this up to talk shit about Diedrich because I think the dude's actually funny. And it's like... I'm
over here talking shit I don't even know. It's like,
no, Diedrich's cool. I'm just saying...
You said he's a bitch.
He can say shit to annoy... Like, he just says shit to help you. But sometimes I'm like, did that really help me? I don't know if he was trying to
help or not. I think I just like, I don't even know if I brought it up directly as like, that's something that I do. But he was like, oh yeah, like I heard that shit before. And I was like,
such an asshole. Okay. That's an asshole comment. I've heard that shit before. Leave it to me in the crowd to determine that. That's what I would say.
If you said it like that. I don't want to start a thing.
You know?
Or maybe I do. I don't know. Have him come on here and rebut.
Yeah, next week we got Diedrich on the show. We're gonna have him.
Diedrich's like, wait a minute.
she'll come over too. I have no doubt that you'd be like, stop acting like a bitch. That was so funny. He's a bitch.
Oh man. Well, as we're wrapping up here, I mean, do you have any advice for somebody who's looking to get into this world, who's kind of standing on the outside, just barely looking in, like me and you were not that long ago?
Oh, that's true. I'm literally coming up on a year here. Next month will be a year.
Oh shit! Congratulations.
How long have you been doing it?
On
and off, I know.
Yeah, on and off for it was since 2016.
Oh yeah, so like 2 years.
Yeah.
Years.
So about that. Yeah, it's probably like maybe like 6 months ahead of you or something like that.
Yeah, that's so cool. Advice. Honestly, just sign up for an open mic. If you think you have material, just sign up. Force yourself to do it and just show up. I think once you sign up and show up, I mean, you're going to want to shit your pants. And
do it by yourself or invite your friends.
Okay, so I'll tell you my story. So my friend Brianna had been doing stand-up, and she was friends with the host that ran the open mic out at the library in Long Beach. So she was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do a set there. You should come. And I was like, oh my God, my first stand-up bit. And I'm going with Brianna. Okay, cool. Wrote it out, got there early. Brianna texts me, hey, I don't think I can make it, but I text your name to Dakota. You'll do great.
Shit.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So now you really had to go by yourself.
She literally left me. Signed me up, and
so
then
you
left
wanted her to be
me.
there, though. You wanted her.
I would have never gone if I didn't know she was gonna be there to meet me. I would have never signed up. I would have never been there because I met Brianna in improv. We took improv together, and then we did volunteer work together called Script to Stage. So we worked with kids in Compton, and we helped them write scripts.
Oh, that's cool.
And then afterwards, they hired paid actors through the Young Storyteller program, and then they acted out the scripts. And so I had to learn, on top of learning improv, I wrote a script. I helped a kid write a script, and that was super hard. Improv was hard as fuck, and then learning to write a script, that was a whole nother skill I had to learn. and then help a kid act it out. Like, it was just crazy.
Yeah,
and so Brianna had been doing Young Storytellers for a long time, and so she signed me up. She was like, I'm gonna go do a mic at the library. She'd been doing stand-up longer than me. And then I showed up thinking I was gonna meet her. She fucking
surprise. But you
kidding,
just gotta throw yourself into it, you know?
I threw myself into it, went by myself. I mean, if you can do it by yourself, fucking do it. Because I feel like at the end of the day, like, if you want to see out comedy for yourself, like, you are gonna have to like commit to going to these mics, and you're gonna have to commit to like writing your own jokes, and you're gonna have to commit to doing shows and going to mics by yourself, because someone's not gonna be there to hold your hand the whole way. Like,
and nobody's gonna come up and tap you on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, it's time now."
Yeah,
like, let's go. Nobody else is gonna do it. You just gotta fucking throw yourself out there.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
right on, man.
It was cool.
So anything coming up beyond Joe's special?
Yeah, I've got a show on Sunday. Wait, is it this Sunday? Oh, I'm doing... Okay. Well, we're not going to say that one. I'm doing
We're probably
a show
going to release this in
on the
like
20th.
a week or probably two, actually. Probably just before the show.
Okay. So, let's see. On the 1st, I'm doing an April Fool's show in Pomona.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably about the time this will come out.
Right on. Well, yeah. I will make sure and grab all those links and throw them out there on our social media so people can know. Because I would like to, I want to bolster up this local scene right here because it's fucking good. There are some dudes that we worked out with that fucking crush it. I'm telling you, like, oh God, you probably remember his name. Jordan
Conley?
Yeah. He's a killer, man. Like, better than so many headliners I've ever seen.
His and then he won the comedy fest, like this joke thing in Las Vegas. He like won first place. Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me one bit, man. He is every bit as funny as all your favorite people right there. So fucking keep an eye out for him. You know, because it's worth checking it out here. There's a lot of good people. So fucking support local comedy.
Yeah,
and support our boy Joe Euro. Not special. Urel. Oh,
yeah, Urel.
Wrong.
On April 5th.
April 5th, that's right.
8 p.m. at the Rec Room. I'll be on there. Should be a good time. There's a couple other really funny comedians on there too. So, and it's a filming for Joe's 30-minute special called Not Special.
And his shit is way
his
funny.
New material is great.
He's so fucking good. Yeah, no, I'm kind of excited to see that. I wanted to see his roast battle. I know he just won a.
Oh, he just beat Evan Cassidy actually at the. I was there for that roast battle at the Comedy Store.
Oh man.
It was crazy good. And I felt Joe is a fan favorite. Like Joe is liked by so many and. He kills it at the roast battle. He's just an amazing joke writer. So I'm not going to discredit. Joe did great, obviously won, but I'm not going to discredit Evan Cassidy because Evan did great too.
Evan's really the fucking man.
It was just a really good battle.
There's a lot of local people out here that I recommend everybody keep an eye out for. They might just be your new favorites. So fucking support local comedy. Check out the Rec Room at Huntington Beach. And, of course, make sure that you subscribe to us however you get your podcast. That is at Let It Bleed Cast on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And
I just want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And informing us about the world of comedy, because now I'm kind of like, you got me kind of thinking about it, too.
Okay, cool.
It's fun, man. I need some buddies to kind of hold me accountable to get me back in. So... you guys are down.
I definitely want to go check it out.
If you ever want to come see me, you can follow me on Instagram at Pretty Girl Comic, girls with a U. And then I post all my shows on there. And then if you ever want to hit an open mic, you can message me and are in the area, and I'll tell you like what open mics you should totally check out.
Yeah, she'll give you the secret code and everything like that.
I'll give you the scoop.
Tell you who to meet, how much money to bring. It's all good.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. And as always, let it bleed.